Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to the videos. Another paid request, this time from Jerp Pin. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested, requests in any type of videos, commentaries, reviews, re-reviews, video game playthroughs, whatever the case may be, PayPal is usually the best bet, or join my Patreon. I also do have a Cash App for those interested. Just feel free to ask. Most of those links are down below in the info box. And Jerp Pin wanted me to do a commentary on the 1989 film Uncle Buck. So, gotta pause the beginning. 3, 2, 1, pressing play. It's funny that this film came out in 1989 because it was the end for a lot of things, not just for a decade. It was pretty much the end of John Hughes' directing career because after this he did Curly Sue, which was a financial flop, a critical flop. And I think he took that a bit hard. He wrote Home Alone, which came out in 1990 and was the biggest hit he was ever associated with. And I liked Home Alone, but, I mean, compared to the films he directed, Home Alone was just a phenomenon. People don't realize how big Home Alone was at the time. It was huge. And then after that, and Curly Sue bombing, it's like, well, I gotta go into the formula. What was the biggest hit? Home Alone. So, wrote Home Alone 2, speaking of which, Macaulay Culkin right there. Other films he helped write were films like Baby's Day Out. I think later on he helped work on writing the Robin Williams film Flubber. I think 101 Dalmatians with Glenn Close. I think he helped write that John Candy film Only the Lonely and Dutch. And these films, I mean, they didn't really do well, except Flubber made a little bit of money, so did 101 Dalmatians, but like Only the Lonely didn't do anything. Dutch was a flop. What was the other movie? Baby's Day Out was a flop. At least in the US. So then or I should say, then wrote Home Alone 2, that was a success, and realized that those are the kind of films he had to delve into to make the money. Now, I don't know if that's true, but some say that he was that his personality had changed, that back in the era making films like 16 Candles and Breakfast Club and Weird Science, he was much more low-key, easygoing, fun. And then, from what I understand, like Anthony Michael Hall and Molly Ringwald, they really didn't want to do his movies anymore. They wanted to expand, do different stuff. To be fair, though, they didn't really find much success in doing it, so I guess, really, in retrospect, they probably should have stayed. Because, for what I understand, the way Anthony Michael Hall says it, John Hughes wanted him for the lead in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which, of course, went to Matthew Broderick. And I actually see Anthony Michael Hall playing the role, but I think at that point he was a bit too big for his britches. Anthony Michael Hall, he wanted to do more stuff, be an action star. So that's why he did that movie Out of Bounds, which was not a good movie. It did not fit. It bombed, rightfully so. And it just wasn't that good of a movie, Out of Bounds. Where he's from Iowa, and his brother's been killed, and he's on the run, and at times trying to be a tough guy, but just don't buy into it. And he didn't really find much success other than, what, a bit part in Edward Scissorhands, maybe a bit part here and there, and then the TV show The Dead Zone, which went for a few years. And then he appeared in one of the Nolan Batman films, and Halloween Kills. And then I read up somewhere that John Hughes wasn't really in tune with the cast of Ferris Bueller's Day Off like he was in other productions. I think Mia Sarah said, "Yeah, I had heard that he would really get to know the cast, but I did Molly Ringwald turn him down to do stuff. I think Anthony Michael Hall did. I think She's Having a Baby, that movie. I think he wanted Molly Ringwald and Anthony Michael Hall, but they said no, and then he got like Kevin Bacon and then someone else, and then Ferris Bueller again got Matthew Broderick. And apparently he held a grudge for a long, long time. And I guess that's kind of when he started turning to John Candy. Just John Candy was the guy that would stick with him. Because, he had the bit part of National Lampoon's Vacation, which I think John Hughes had a hand in. I know Harold Ramis directed, but I think John Hughes had a hand in writing a bit or something like that. I can't remember. And then was friendly with him. Then he made a cameo when She's Having a Baby. He was in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. He was in The Great Outdoors, which John Hughes produced or something. This movie, he had a cameo in Home Alone. He was in Only the Lonely, which John Hughes wrote or something. So, it's kind of, you had the teen years, and then you had the John Candy years. Which I do like the both. But yeah, John Hughes, after the success of Home Alone, people saying, make that movie again and again and again, so did Baby's Day Out, all these other movies. More kid, more broad movies. Then, why not do that if you didn't pay a lot of money, and then a lot of them were not hits, and then again, Curly Sue being a huge flop, and Anthony Michael Hall and Molly Ringwald are long gone, and he probably, I guess he just lost the desire to make movies. Maybe he also felt, I'm kind of not the guy to do this anymore. I would love to have seen that movie he was going to do with Sylvester Stallone and John Candy, Bartholomew versus Neff, where Stallone and John Candy were feuding neighbors. And if Stallone had done that, instead of Stop or My Mom Will Shoot, I actually like Oscar. And I don't hate Stop or My Mom Will Shoot, but that movie, if that movie got financed, I think that would have a pretty fun movie. Stallone and John Candy together, that would have been fun. I wish the What If. So yeah, John Hughes, he passed away in, 2009? Curly Sue was 1991, never directed a movie again. Which is surprising, because there's a lot of people that I'm going to try to do 1 or 2 or 3 more movies. Not the case. Part of me is like, maybe it's for the best. Because I don't remember much about Curly Sue. But of the 8 movies he did, I think most of them are really good. Yeah, I really grew to hate this teenage character. I mean, I think that's the point, but that's over the line to say, if my family moved away from me, I'd have a heart attack too. I'm like, her dad just had a heart attack and you're giving her shit. That's almost so over the line, there's no way to come back from it. I mean, I like this film. It's a fun movie. Mainly for John Candy. But it's there for a point, but damn, that teenage girl is so hateable for a good chunk of the movie. And of course, it's a very young Macaulay Culkin who Obviously, this was almost like an audition for Home Alone. And Macaulay Culkin was a good child actor. He was one of the better child actors. I'm trying to remember what he had done before this, but this came out '89. Now in 1990, he was in a small part in Jacob's Ladder, although a very, very important part. And I love that movie. Why that movie's not had some primo special edition 4K, like I don't know why. It richly, richly deserves it. With the bells and whistles and features and stuff. And then he was in, of course, Home Alone, which blew the doors out of everybody. Like, no one expected Home Alone to be that mad. I mean, that mad. To be that successful. Mad. To be that successful. Maybe I'm going mad. And Macaulay Culkin's career, I mean, you can almost say it was a big flaming 15 minutes of fame. But it was 15 minutes because Home Alone was a huge success. My Girl was a little bit of success as well. And then after that, Home Alone 2 was also a hit. Not as big of a hit, but it was a hit. Then you had Richie Rich, you had The Good Son, you had Getting Even with Dad. And they just were not nearly as successful as... The Good Son might have made a little bit of money. Can't remember. I actually don't mind that film. But like Richie Rich and Getting Even with Dad. And I think he's growing up. He doesn't have as much of the boy charm that won a lot of audiences over back then. And pretty much didn't do anything except a movie here or there. I know he came back and he started some podcast for a little bit called Bunny Ears, but it seems like, again, for like 15 minutes he had that podcast going, and he was like everywhere. He was on the Angry Video Game Nerd, when he reviewed the Home Alone games, and there's Macaulay Culkin as the pizza guy, and then I think him, James, and Mike played the Page Master, like the James and Mike Mondays. Like, he was around for a little bit, and then he disappeared again. So I don't know if he was doing all that to try to get his podcast going, but it wasn't successful. I don't know if it's still going. I don't know what happened. If anyone has information, please let me know. Now, of course, you see a lot of the mementos of Chicago, because John Hughes was a Chicago guy. I know for a while he figured that like all of his movies kind of took place in the same universe around Shermer, Illinois, give or take, and of course the Love Letter to Chicago as well. And John Candy is so good in this. He is the main reason that this is an enjoyable film. You know, he's an uncle that, yeah, he smokes cigars, he does all this stuff, but he's got a good heart, just like John Candy himself. And John Candy, that's a guy that I still miss this day. I remember one time I did like a little marathon, like going through his movies, and like he had some early work that wasn't that great, but then you had Summer Rental, which is my favorite, still not on Blu-ray, only on DVD. I'm laughing because he's at the wrong house. I remember this. He's at the wrong fucking house. He's knocking on the door. He's at the wrong fucking house. Buck? Bob? Buck? He hasn't noticed it yet. Just John Candy's reaction. And that's the thing, is that he was just a seemingly a sweet, lovable guy. Everybody has nothing but nice things to say about the guy. And like I said, Summer Rental I love. He was in the film Splash with Tom Hanks, which was a success. You had, of course, Spaceballs. Love Plane, Trains, and Automobiles. Love. This is a very fun one. I liked The Great Outdoors. I think it was Plane, Trains, Automobiles, Great Outdoors, then this movie. That he had the cameo in Home Alone. He had a big part in the Oliver Stone film JFK, which was an interesting change of pace. They did some films in the other 90s that were there, like Delirious, where he's a guy who gets trapped in a soap opera that he had written, which seems like a fun idea, but I don't know, it just kind of, I don't know, it's like a idea that was better than the movie. I don't know, I thought it could have been a lot wittier about all the tropes and cliches of soap opera. I think it could have been a lot more of a biting satire on it, and it kind of played off like trying to like this little love story thing, and Only the Lonely was okay as well. It's like even this scene here where you have this kind of nervousness where he's trying to ease her, but at the same time making a little bit of fool of himself. But there's nothing mean or cruel or angry about the character. He still seems like a lovable guy that, will make a few like nervous mistakes, but and of course you see how important John Candy is when they try to reboot this not once but twice with TV shows. One, I forget the guy's name, and it was a failure of a show. And then later on, like we need a black Uncle Buck, and that didn't work either. I forgot who was it Mike Epps? They got him for the second. Two TV shows that tried to do Uncle Buck and failed both times. That will be a black Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I remember this because what was the line he says? Unbreakable. And it's unbreakable. Shit. There he goes. And sadly, John Candy is that like I said, he got into the '90s, and like I said, I might not have loved Delirious or Only the Lonely, but they were watchable. I didn't hate them. Like I could watch them. Cool Runnings was a fun one. And then like the last films he did was like Canadian Bacon and Wagons East, which are two of my least favorite films. And Wagons East was just, it was a western that he should not have been doing in the first place because of his weight, because of the physicality of being on a horse, riding the horse. The heat would not do much for his body weight, and Sally had a heart attack during the film. Like the film was not even completed when he died. And sadly, John Dean was one of those guys that he could not control his weight. It wasn't drugs. It was just sadly he could not control his weight. If he did, and you could tell, like you see that even from Planes, Trains, and Automobiles to this movie, he is a bit of a bigger guy. And that's a lot of weight to carry on your body, and it just will affect the heart more and more. And this is a guy that was, star of movies. And I'm sitting there going, there had to have been like some kind of like trainer. Like, listen, I want to lose weight. I'll pay you. Get me to lose some weight. Some way, some shape. But either he tried, it didn't work, or he just said, nah, I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. I get the idea, but this girl is such a bitch that I just hate her. I much prefer the interaction between him and Macaulay Culkin. Like I get the story behind it, I get what they're trying to go with, but she's just so hateful that I just want to throw her in the fucking dishwasher or something. But yeah, it's just, it's sad you look at this film and 1989, I mean, doesn't seem that long ago, but it is, and your director's passed away, your stars passed away. It's very sad. Now, this little girl, I swear I've seen her in other movies, but I cannot remember what they were. I do like this interrogation scene. It's kind of like a scene from Dragnet. Where's your wife? How come? It's a long story. Do you have kids? No, I don't. How come? It's an even longer story. Yeah, more nose. Yeah, more hair, nose hair than my dad. Thank you for noticing. I'm a kid. That's my job. Shit. Missed the school. Like I said, it's hard to pick like what my favorite John Candy films. My personal favorite is Summer Rental. And my favorite bit is always the bit in Summer Rental where they're at the beach house for the vacation, and they come back and all these people are staying at the place. And so there's a guy in his bed with food all over watching the Smurfs. And John Candy at this point has crutches. And he's like, what are you doing? And the guy's like, yeah, I'm watching the Smurfs. And he's like, oh, you watching the Smurfs, huh? You ever see the episode where Papa Smurf beat the shit out of a guy with a red hat? Did you see the episode? Did you see it? Got the guy out of there. But I do like the attitude where, John Candy's not going to take gruff from this girl. In other words, get to stick out your ass. Just such a great infectious smile. I think maybe that's kind of the key to it too. As I watch it, like you have to make her so mean and bitchy, because the way John Candy has to talk to her, you can't make it where, oh, he's a bully, he's being too mean. No, instead it's like, no, you kind of root for him and he's not mean enough. He's not. It's like, so I guess that's the thing. It's like you have to make her so hateable that, like, yeah, almost anything John Candy says or does, yeah, he's not going to be looked at as a villain. So yeah, Summer Rental would be my favorite, but yeah, the this would probably be up there. Like Planes, Trains, Automobiles, I go back like technically I should say Planes, Trains, Automobiles is my favorite, but Summer Rental is a personal favorite of mine as well. So those two are up there, and like I said, this and Great Outdoors are fun as well. And how our robots were back in the day. It's crazy. Like you look at the this news here about the Soviets and Russia and all that, and then you look at what's going on now with Russia at war with Ukraine. Go figure. How times have changed. I don't know what the hell is supposed to be in that plastic bag. I have no idea. Mystery soup and mystery meat and sardines. Yeah, I don't see why you would ever want to give a kid sardines. I have no idea. I is where he's been cut out of the picture. Because of that lady there. Just like mother, like daughter. Mother seemed bitchy, and then the mom's bitchy to Uncle Buck, and the daughter is now bitchy. Very that interesting, unique hat he wears too. I forget what that hat is called that Uncle Buck wears. You ever hear a tune up? You ever hear a ritual killing? You don't want her face a Poe again, you'll be one. You ever hear a ritual killing? Like John Tandy makes that work. Like I said, if you do that wrong, the guy will come off as unlikable and psychotic and oh my god, how could he say that to another person? But what's his last name? Spray? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you definitely tell John Hughes definitely saw Southern Macaulay Culkin because either people watch this film or they John Hughes' recommendation the Dean Macaulay Culkin star in Home Alone. Interesting usage of music in this scene that is almost like whimsical way about this. So a little mystery of like what they're talking about. As hell as the thing with Macaulay Culkin is that God, this girl just will not shut up. And now she's making shit up about him. I like the shot look on his face. Of course, ask her about those plays he fucking broke. That's what that blue water is. Like, she's giving him such a hard time, but he hasn't really done a whole lot to make her behave this way, other than legitimate question: how many times do I feed the dog each day? I mean, it's better than having the dog starve. Oh, you fed the dog 4 or 5 times a day? Now you just need to do once. Now, if he said, well, once every 3 days, that'd be something terrible. Plates, maybe just tears about the plate. I mean, just like mom, like daughter, both unlikable. But it makes you feel sorry for Uncle Butt more, I'll say that. Maybe that's one issue, just the mom and the daughter are just so unlikable, and I get that's the point, but it's just they're so unlikable that, like I said, John Candy's the MVP of this. But yeah, another great usage of music, like a lot of John Hughes films. I mean, music is such an important part from, of course, the famous song in the Breakfast Club, "You Don't You Forget About Me," to Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. That great emotional beat when Steve Martin's reminiscing about John Candy and starts figuring things out and goes back to find John Candy still sitting there, and then John Candy tells what happened to his wife, to, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, all the little musical montages in that, whether it be they're in the art gallery or, oh yeah, ooh yeah, where they first see the car, and then at the very end of the film. I mean, music has always been important. Now this is Laurie Metcalf. This is Roseanne. Roseanne's sisters. Yeah, if you hear that dialogue, yeah. A little bit of adult humor for this kind of movie. But that's because you got a dirty mind. You just open up a washing machine. That's why she just doesn't open the door. Like, just has this, just John Candy I miss so much. Like I say, he just had this lovable demeanor to him. I love John Candy's reaction to that. Like I say, he's good. He's just he's the type of guy that audiences just could fall in love with. And that's why for a bit he was a leading man of comedy. Just, I said in the 90s just wasn't the best, sadly, for him. Like I said, Only the Lonely and Delirious, I don't think they were the best projects. I think his talents were not utilized as well as they could have in those projects. Like I said, I think Delirious, I wish I didn't just had a lot more satiric edge on soap operas and how silly and convoluted they could be. I don't know. Like I said, I like Cool Runnings, but and then was I think like 94 around there that he passed away. And I think Kenny Bacon came out after his death, but he had made it before, of course, before White is East. And I were gone bowling. It's funny, I had someone ask in a chat one time, like, do you like bowling? I'm like, yeah, I don't mind bowling. I just really don't get an opportunity to do so. I haven't had an opportunity to do it in a long, long time. I'm not good at it. Probably because I just haven't had much time experience to do it, but bowling seems fun. And this guy here with his eyes. This actor does look familiar, though. Oh, he's going to get his toothpick stuck. Yep, there you go. Yeah, I remember that. Maybe that's why he got that cut on his lip. And like his eyes, he just got this makeup on his eyes. Maybe this is what Charlie Sheen's character and Ferris Bueller grew up to be. This guy. Is that always a pickup line? You like all-terrain vehicles? That's a weird pickup line. Yeah, she's not really a social person, buddy. Yeah, sorry, I'm just watching the film, but yeah, this came out in 1989, and I've mentioned this before how 89 was such a crazy year for movies, where wasn't good for horror sequels because you had Elm Street 5, you had Friday the 13th Part 8, you had Halloween 5. But I mean, you looked at the summer of 89, you had Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Back to Back to the Future Part 2, Ghostbusters 2, Batman, James Bond's License to Kill, Lethal Weapon 2, It's a crazy summer. And then compare that to this last summer, where you had what? Well, I just Indiana Jones 5, The Flash, whatever the fuck else. August 1989, this came out. 7.1 on IMDb. You're an asshole too, lady. Bigger asshole. But yeah, like you look at John Hughes, the films he wrote. Actually, unproduced screenplays, unrealized projects. Let me look at that. Let's see. Anthony Michael Hall claims that during the making of The Breakfast Club, Hughes had an idea for a movie called The Last Good Year. It was something that he pitched to me as something he wanted to do with me about the last good year being 1962 before the Beatles' invasion. He didn't have too many of the story elements worked out, but he did have a mixtape put together. Oil and Vinegar, after he finished Pretty in Pink. Matthew Broderick and Molly Ringwald were going to star. A couple who spent a day in a motel room swapping stories on life and love. It was going to be released by Universal, but Hughes objected when the studio asked for rewrites. That, plus Broderick and Ringwald's scheduling conflicts, are why the film was never made. Sorry, I'm just stopping because this is when he's got the clown. I think he beats the shit out of this guy. Yeah, I wouldn't be dreaming if I was going to entertain some kids. Oh, don't give John Tandy shit, man. There you go. Show that to the kids. They'll get a joy out of it. Boom. Knocked right the fuck out. Bartholomew versus Neff in 1990. Stallone and John Candy as feuding neighbors. Since the film was never made, but it was supposed to be finished. It was supposed to be done after Curly Sue. It was going to take place in the suburbs of Chicago during the summer of 1991. This one, The Bee. Due to the success of Home Alone, John Hughes felt determined to make The Bee, a live-action family comedy that he wrote that required a $50 million budget. An architect who was trying to finish his project that day, and a bee comes into the house, and the guy gets distracted by the bee. The entire movie is the bee forces the guy to destroy his own house and take his life apart. To be honest, I kind of saw that movie called Of Unknown Origin, but instead of a bee, it was a rat. So apparently there was talks that Daniel Stern was going to direct the film. Stern says John Hughes visited him on the set of Home Alone 2, showed him the script, and asked him to direct it. It has also been reported that Steve Martin was considered to star in the film. Huh. Interesting. There you go. Filming began in January 1989 in Chicago. Let's see. The film has earned nearly $80 million worldwide since its release. Yeah, there were 2 TV shows. There was one in 1990 on CBS with Kevin Meaney as Buck. When Bob and Cindy died in a car accident, so the parents in this get killed off in the TV show, he is named the legal guardian of the 3 kids. In June 2016, ABC premiered a second TV show featuring Mike Epps and an African American cast. Nia Long as Buck's sister-in-law. Poorly received by critics, canceled only after 8 episodes. I like him fucking with this guy quite a bit. I'll be right back. Let me get that chainsaw. Just curious about something. Maybe later. Like I said, John Candy just makes this film enjoyable. That's a star. Where you're enjoying the film for this one guy. See, the way they make the poster seem as if he's this big terror when he gets along with the other 2 kids well. He's actually helping things out. He's not destroying anything. He's not ruining anything. It's just dealing with this bitchy, mopey teenager. Now, Bud, Jay Underwood, no wonder I recognized him. He was the Human Torch in that Roger Corman produced Fantastic Four movie that never got made. I mean, it got made, but it never got an official release. Of course, you can find it to watch easily now. But the 1994 Fantastic Four film, he was the Human Torch in that. He was also the star in The Boy Who Could Fly, which I vaguely remember back in the day. And the little girl, Gabby Hoffman, the reason I recognize her is because she was the little girl in Field of Dreams. Same year. She was also in Sleepless in Seattle. Volcano, that's where I remember the most from. She was Tom Lee Jones's daughter in Volcano. That's right. Which I'm a big fan of Volcano. But yeah, Gabby Hoffman, she was Tom Lee Jones's daughter in that. Lately just been in some films I've never heard of. Wild, Lyle, Manhattan Romance, Come On, Come On. Don't know what the hell any of that is. She was in Winning Time, The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty. So there you go. I didn't mention this. The guy who played the clown, who got punched, is Mike Starr. I think most remember him from Dumb and Dumber. That film, because in Dumb and Dumber he was. Let me get the mental. The guy that's with Harry and Lloyd, and he tries to poison them, but unbeknownst to them, they give him the hot stuff, and he's choking. Give me my pills, and they accidentally feed him the damn poison pills they was going to give them, and that's Mike Starr. He's been in a lot of other stuff too. He's the one Steven Seagal beats the shit out of in On Deadly Ground in the bar scene. Big Mike in that. Yep, he's the one who killed the parakeet in Dumb and Dumber. Mike, so he was the clown in this that got punched in the face. Almost feels like Austin Powers, one of the sequels, stole from this scene. Because remember you had the Fred Savage with the big mole, and the guy kept accidentally referring to it. Only this I thought was a lot funnier. Because it doesn't feel like it goes on forever. And I like the punchline a lot more. Oh dear, right, and gnaw that off your face. I don't remember if this is really followed up much, this whole bit with, like, supposedly, like, oh, this is a girl that for some reason is a bad egg, and because the few that we've seen of the girl is that she just seems like a normal girl, normal little girl. I love that kid. Just his reaction. The steered bit of it. I also like that scene earlier when he's talking to the kid during detention, waiting for detention. I'm coming looking for you. Coming for you, bitch. Take this quarter. Go downtown after riding all that thing off your face. Just a guy who just doesn't give a fuck. The character is like, fuck you, principal. Don't like it, I'm gonna take your head, pop it like a Pez dispenser. And that's the thing, they could have made this where he was a doofus that kept making all these mistakes, but he meant well. But he's making this mistake and this mistake, but again, he meant well. So he blew up the fucking kitchen or something else happened. But it's one of those scenes where like I said, in other people's hands, they would have made him much more of a disposable loser. or something like that. But, well, he meant well. But he's pretty... He knows a good bit of what he's doing. He's not just some consistent loser. He's not fucked it up every 5 minutes. I felt like, you know, in another hands it would be more cliche or something. Oh yeah, they don't have a cat. So by this point, he hasn't noticed they don't have a cat. And this is like again, you just really despise this person the way she talks like this. That's what it's just that she's so hateful for so long that I don't give a shit about seeing her repent and her being fixed. Because she's so fucking consistently unlikable, hateful piece of trash that I just... If she got a Ricky from, you know, Boys in the Hood, she got shot, Ricky! I wouldn't give a shit. I wouldn't give a fuck. About the character, of course, folks, not the actress. But if this character died, I wouldn't give a fuck. That's why I think they went a bit too far of just being just consistent. Like, there's nothing redeemable about her, and we're over an hour into this. Like, we're over an hour into the film, and there's nothing redeemable. She doesn't even treat her brother and sister well. She just not. She treats her mom like shit. She treats her brother and sister like shit. She treats Buck like shit. She treats everybody like shit. And just, I get the idea, I get the point, but just, man, getting so fucking hateful. Well, I mean, he can't get the washing machine, so that's why he's doing it this way, microwave. uh, of course, the bat. What a worst time to come by. What a worst time. There's Laurie Metcalf. Yeah, look at that TV back there. How TVs were back in the day, before the thin, flat TVs. Before that time. Ouch. Jesus Christ, lady. Obviously, we know what she wants. By the way, I'm watching this on this set. The film is on Blu-ray. I just never picked it up because there's really, for what I remember, there's really nothing on the Blu-ray. And it's this set here, this 3-pack, where it's on one disc, going berserk, which that could have been left off of this. That's a pretty awful film. And the other two are The Great Outdoors and Uncle Buck. It's a 2 DVD set. Number one, they're cheap enough to not just put an extra disc on it. Second off, like, the one that gets its own is Going Berserk, the worst one. So yeah, it's like this. Of course, the one's in there. And there's nothing on this as well in terms of features. Like, the only one was here was subtitles. Yeah, Going Berserk is a pretty awful film. But yeah, Great Outdoors and Uncle Bud, both PG films. And I don't know, maybe one day we'll see something from Uncle Bud, because we saw some in Planes, Trains, Automobiles with all those deleted scenes. But I don't know. I mean, like I said, Summer Rental doesn't even have a Blu-ray. So who knows? Just depends. It's like the lottery. Just depends. Just depends. That's the thing, like, on a tangent, you know, people talking about how, you know, all these movies, they're going to get a 4K release. I'm like, okay, they already have a Blu-ray. Okay, they're getting a 4K. That doesn't excite me. When there's such an assortment, a smorgasbord of movies that have not even gotten Blu-ray, that are just on DVD or just on VHS. They're just on VHS or just on DVD, and they haven't. And there's no Blu-ray. Like Summer Rental with John Candy, there's no Blu-ray. Three Men and a Baby with Tom Selleck and Ted Danson and Steve Guttenberg, one of the biggest hits of 1987. No Blu-ray. No Blu-ray for Three Men and a Baby, no Blu-ray for Summer Rental, no Blu-ray for Gleam in the Cube with Christian Slater, Run with Patrick Dempsey, Stakeout with Emilio Estevez and Richard Dreyfuss, National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon 1 with Emilio Estevez and Samuel Jackson. The Hitcher, does that have a Blu-ray in the US? I don't know what the fuck happened to that one big Blu-ray that was supposed to be happening. I forget what company it was, but I don't know what happened to that. It's October and nothing happened. Just a lot of stuff, and sadly, who knows if it'll ever get released. Most of Jeff Speakman's films, Street Night, Deadly Outbreak, all that stuff, didn't get a Blu-ray or even a DVD release. Except The Perfect Weapon. The list just goes on and on and on. Murder by Phone with Richard Chamberlain, which is a fun B-movie in my opinion. That's only on VHS tape. When you really look at it, there's a lot of movies still stuck on there, and it's just really... It's upsetting to me because that means these films will have the potential of being, I guess I can't say lost because we're in the day of the internet, and this is why people are ripping these movies and uploading them and posting them so they don't get lost. And so you go find it eventually, hopefully. But they won't have new transfers. They won't have, I don't know, maybe a streaming service will get them and just release it. I don't know. Sometimes you have HD versions that do leak out onto streaming services and stuff. So, that's not an impossibility, but I look at a film like Cutting Class, and it's like, well, okay, it got a Blu-ray. Now it's getting a 4K with like 3-4 different covers, and I'm like, 3 Minute of Babies doesn't even have a Blu-ray, but Cutting Glass has a 4K with 3, 4 different covers. Summer Rental with John Candy is stuck on DVD, but Flesh Eater has a fucking 4K. This is luck of the draw. Who has the rights? Who has the money to do? All that stuff. So anyway, just how it is. Again, money, rights, some people being too greedy, rights not being found, all that stuff. Good lady, when you get kidnapped, not gonna feel sorry for you. When you get butt fucked on TV, lady, not gonna feel sorry for you. As to anything that happens to her as a character, I don't feel sorry for her. Yes, if this is real life, of course I would in real life, because that's real life. I know the difference between real life and a movie. This is a movie. These are real people playing fake characters that everything's. So knowing that difference, I looked at the character. I go, I don't give a fuck what happens to this character. If she got killed off, if she got butt fucked on the side of the road, left with a bukkake on her face, I would not give a shit. But that's the point. Well, I mean, have her a couple redeemable factors? A couple? She showed 0 for the entire fucking movie. And we have about 28 minutes left with the end credits, so. Going to the racetrack. But you just said your whole year is based on this. Sorry, I don't have much to say. But this is pretty much going to be the dilemma. Do you go to a racetrack and worry about the money, or do you worry about the... I will say it makes Buck much more of a lovable guy than this person that's just been a complete bitch and treated him like trash for the entire movie. Does the morally right thing. Even though it's going to cost him a whole year. I like Gabby Hoffman's smile. Sorry, I'm listening to the dialogue or reading the dialogue, so if you wonder what I'm doing. Just been a while since, probably the last time I saw this is, if I ever reviewed it, which I think I did, then that's when I last saw it, so. I like the way John Hughes handled that conversation, where she's pretty straightforward, but she's not bitchy about it. He's like, him saying, hey, for what it's worth, hey, however it is. He ends up, I don't know how to explain it, but I just like the way it was handled. Oh, yeah, I think I remember this when McCullough Culkinley won her ID or something. For a split second, I thought she was going to do it, and McCullough Culkin was going to have the BB done, but that's the movie next year. Like, this bit here has to be also an inspiration for Home Alone as well. Like, this whole bit here, because this is like, what the hell was that with the three guys? Hell was that about? But this whole bit here where, what if someone's trying to get in and all that jazz. I just kind of a little kid having an adult do what they want. So you have a kid kind of acting a lot older than his age and kind of getting a one over on adults. Maybe some bits like this might have been the inspiration for Home Alone. Yeah, go have fun with Bug or Spray, whatever the fuck you want to name it. Oh yeah, you kind of find out that's not her, it's someone else. That's right. Which is a nice little twist type of thing. I don't know why. They just look like a shitty party. It just looks like nobody can barely move. And I don't know. Looks crowded as hell. Nothing really going on except doing this. Yeah, you think this is her, but it's not. So, I'm trying to think now. Like, if my top, because he's only done 8 movies, my top 5 favorite John Hughes films that he directed, just directed, I would probably go Planes, Trains, and Automobiles #1. Weird Science I really enjoy. That'd probably be #2. Ferris Bueller's Day Off would be #3. Or if Ferris Bueller would be number 2. I don't know. Ferris Bueller's Day Off or Weird Science. I like both of them quite a bit. I don't know which I like more. One would be number 2, one would be number 3. Number 4 would probably be then... The Breakfast Club, and then number 5 I put Uncle Buck. And then John Candy, like I said, number 1 would be between Planes, Trains, Automobiles and Summer Rental. One more of a childhood favorite, the other is a bit more of a complete movie. I guess because like Summer Rental is more John Candy himself has to carry the film, while Planes, Trains is him and Steve Martin. I love the way it's lit with the shadow and the drill and all that stuff. I love that. I guess, hey, I'm here. I might as well steer the shit out of the guy. Why not? But yeah, Summer Rental, Planes, Trains, they'd be 1 and 2. I guess if I think there's an overall package, Planes, Trains would be number 1. But just as for John Candy performance, I really like in Summer Rental because he's the star. Because in a way, he has more to do because of that. Film that he's in, Planes, Trains, Automobiles. Film that he stars in, Summer Rental. I'll put it that way. And then this would be in the top 5. I think Great Outdoors would be in the top 5. I would probably put this above Great Outdoors. So that's 4 movies. Honestly, I like Spaceballs. I like... Maybe Cool Runnings would be in there. And of course, this is the first time we see this girl where their defense is down. And I don't blame the actress. Like, I don't blame the actress for anything. She's doing what she's told. She's doing what she's acting, and she does a good job portraying the role. It's interesting when you look at this film. Like, I mean, if this was a film made today, there'd be some kind of big set piece, car chase sequence, food fight. Like, there'd be some kind of big set piece. Like, if it was just, oh, it's two people talking in a car, I think nowadays it'd be looked at as too mundane or too, in their view, inconsequential. Do you have something bigger happen? Will people be too bored? Do we have something a bit more grandiose happen? Or just this bit of bonding here? Yeah, it's more compliant now. I think I like the bit it's coming up. Like he talks a bit smack and then he regrets it because he won't shut up for his own good. And it's coming up here. He says something. Okay, that's what he did for talking smack. Oh, I forgot about the golf club stuff. I completely forgot about this. Completely forgot about this. He's already broke. He doesn't have anything. There you go. So again, sorry the last part of this commentary has been kind of low key. Like I said, if you want, this film was done today, it'd be some, much trying to be a much of a bigger, like I said, bigger event, bigger set piece. Well, we're just driving a car and we're just talking in the house, but that's big part of John Hughes' stuff. The conversations between characters. I mean, there's zany stuff in Weird Science and Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but it still results in characters talking with each other, their dialogue with each other. I forgot about that door tip too. I think just the playful nature of it. But I don't know why I just keep harping and keep coming back to like you think of like what was the last comedy I saw that I really truly enjoyed? It's hard for me to even remember. It's really hard for me to remember the last comedy I truly liked, had fun, enjoyed. I mean, there are comedies that get made, and there are comedies that I'm sure are hits. But actually, you know what? I'll look that up. Like, what comedies came out this year of 2023? Because I don't even remember. What, You People with Eddie Murphy and Jonah Hill? I could barely call that a comedy. I mean, I guess it's an attempt at a comedy, but if you want to call it a comedy, be my fucking guest. I sure as hell fuck don't think it is. And not many other people did either. Um, and like the turn of like if it was maybe like little moments that it seemed like she's going to break, and then she steps out of it, or this gradual progression of these little moments keep popping up more and more often, maybe this change would be more successful for me. The 30 best comedies of 2023. Cocaine Bear, we're really calling Cocaine Bear a comedy. Champions, I thought that was a sports drama. Murder Mystery 2 with Adam Sandler, okay. Love Adian. The Little Mermaid, they're really calling Little Mermaid a comedy. No Hard Feelings. Ah, here we go, that freeze frame. Just like in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, there was a freeze frame on John Candy's face. And just that lovable nature reaching through the screen. So I guess Barbie? I guess Barbie would be the big comedy of the year. Barbie. A bunch of films you never heard of for good reason, and Barbie. Jesus Christ. An upcoming Wonka, the prequel. Jesus Christ, dude. Like, this is the shit we have for fucking comedies. This era of movies and this year of movies is so awful and terrible that it's actually kind of depressing. It's actually kind of fucking depressing. It really, truly is. That this is what we have. With this dog shit, this is what we have for movies, man. Just so depressing, man. So depressing. God damn it. Anyway, that's Uncle Butch. Sorry I ended on such a sour note, but like this film, it's a pretty small contained movie when you think about it. Nothing too crazy happened. You know, you have the mostly in the one house, a little bit in the school, some driving scenes, but nothing too crazy or too bombastic or huge set pieces. It's mainly centered on John Candy and the family unit and how they react to each other, how they talk with each other. And, you know, this is a film that probably would not even get in theaters nowadays. They would go, nah, we'll put it to streaming. There's nothing too big. The audiences need to see big type of set pieces, big events, big spectacles, other worlds, even if it's a comedy, something of that nature. Nah, this would be too mundane. So this would probably be put onto a streaming service nowadays. And then corporate people would be like, hey, could you add something here? Could you add something big here to really get the audience excited and all this stuff? But yeah, it's, like I said, fairly short, compacted. I mean, not short, but it's fairly... In a way, it's a small movie. Not a whole lot of stuff. Like I said, big set piece wise to showcase. So, but yeah, with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. Still a fun film. John Candy's definitely greatly missed. And we will see you guys later. Thanks once again, Jerp Pin, and take care. Bye-bye.